Hey guys, over the last couple of weeks we've gotten quite a few questions about DPC University, what it is, how to use it, how to get more involved. So I figured I would try to answer a lot of these just in a little video tutorial and overview, and hopefully that'll answer some of these questions in a more efficient manner. So I'll give you guys a quick overview here and kind of give you a tour, and like I said, hopefully this will be helpful. So we launched this a few weeks ago, just before the conference in Orlando, and are super excited about it. What we're really trying to accomplish here is a place for DPC doctors, specifically DPC Alliance members, to come to and basically be a self-help center and a gathering place that kind of empowers the DPC community. So the biggest part of that is something called a knowledge base. A knowledge base, if you guys haven't used one, is similar to like what a help desk is. You've probably used one if you've had support for a product, and so a lot of people use them when they have a service or something that they're using, and they'll go ask questions of. And before you reach out to customer service, there's some articles and other things you can access there and find quickly and easily. So that's kind of the biggest part of it is a knowledge base. And then another part of it, which is tightly integrated, is something that's more of a community forum, and those are tightly integrated together, which makes things really awesome in many respects for both the users and for administering this type of thing. So to get to the university, if you're a DPC Alliance member, is you go to edu and then click Enter DPC University. The website here does give kind of an overview of what this is, because we want to kind of explain to people what Alliance members get with this. So this is kind of a description here, but this is just our website, not the actual a platform for the university. So you either click here. I had already opened a window here. So the first thing you'll do is you'll log in. I'm already logged into here under my own name, so there I am. But if you don't, you'll see kind of a white screen with DPCU at the top. You log in. When you're an Alliance member, you should have already gotten invited. If you join the Alliance now, it might take a week or two to get everything processed, but you'll get login information, which is different than managing your membership. Two separate platforms here. Hopefully we can at some point have a single sign-on, but for now it's kind of two separate systems we're using to do this. So you can see here, the first thing you get here is the knowledge base, and that's what the books represent there. So probably the easiest way to find something is if you have a question about something, is just to search. So for example here, like let's say you were looking at trying to learn more about employers. So type in employer here, and a bunch of articles pop up. You can kind of browse those. Let's see if you're wanting to work with contracts with employers. So you can see maybe there's one or two articles in here that might be a good fit for you. So the more specific you get in here, the less articles we'll get here, but it'll usually give you enough to get started to try to find the article. And that's probably the easiest way to use this. This is a kind of a master search which references everything that's in here. We have over 100 articles to get started. Our goal is to get 500, maybe 1,000 long term, but we have a pretty good start on this. The other way that you can kind of search for something is by browsing. And so this is kind of the broad categories of which you can browse, and all the articles live in one of these categories. So we'll start with, let's just do starting a practice, kind of some basic stuff. So there's like subcategories within each of these bigger categories, subsections, and then each of these are the articles. So this is just really, really basic stuff about starting a practice, but you can see we got quite a bit in there. If you wanted to go back, if you're questioning about leaving an employer or transitioning from a private practice, we have some articles there. So let's go look at maybe just like a specific article. So I'll click through here. Let's click on finding the right employer. So when you get into an article, we tried to make these relatively brief. I think one of the problems is there's lots of good information on how to DPC and related topics, but a lot of it's like just too much to digest. So we tried to keep these articles less than a few paragraphs, a page or less, half a page ideally. And so that's really why there's quite a few articles, is we tried to make them small enough and link them together in a way that makes sense. So, if you really wanted to go from, A to F on this topic, you could start at the top, read this article, and then there might be a link to the next article. But we wanted to keep each article short enough that you could find the answer to the question you're looking for quickly without having to read, a novel to get your answer to your question. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of how that works. If you go into a specific article, what's really cool is we want this to be interactive. So if you're really interested in this article, you can think it's, or if you think it's really helpful, you can vote on it. You can say, oh, that article was super helpful. And the more members that do this, the higher these articles will rank. So we think long-term there's going to be, like I said, 500 to 1,000 articles, maybe thousands of articles. And so we want kind of the best articles to raise to the top, and for people to know that, oh, this is a super helpful article for this topic. And we can definitely edit these articles, and our idea is that each of these articles is kind of a living, breathing article that will be editable and changed over time. So you can vote on that there. The other thing you can do is write a comment. So let's say you find something that is like a typo, or you just have, hey, I have some more questions about this, or a suggestion about this article, whether you wrote the article or not, you can go in here and make a comment. So I'll write here, this, if I can type, this is a test comment. So we have DPC Alliance members monitoring the back end of this. So this will go and get tagged on the administrative end, and we'll take a look at those, and we'll probably have some volunteer members monitoring this, as well as the executive director for now. So that's kind of the point of that, is for you to be able to comment or even start a conversation about that topic. And if we see that a bunch of people are conversing about that article, maybe it means we need another article to dive deeper on that thing. But we hope that kind of helps fill in our knowledge gap, because, like I said, we need a lot more. So this is like a way for us to naturally, as a group, build that knowledge, is to be able to comment and edit these over time. I'll go back here to the homepage. So several people have asked, how do I get involved? How do I submit articles? We absolutely need that. This was initially built in terms of the articles by, I think, 7 or 8, maybe 9. DPC doctors who met in Dallas this summer when it was like 150 degrees. And we spent like the entire weekend, probably 13, 14 hours that weekend, just writing and churning these articles out, which, as you guys know, if you've ever done writing, is harder than you think, even for these short articles. So we did some editing, but mostly the writers did their thing, and then we kind of massaged them to make them fit the format. But we definitely need this to be a group effort. We needed a small enough group to make this possible to launch, but now we want anyone who is interested in writing articles or giving advice. So instead of just spending our time like all day on social media answering the same thing over and over, to write a nice, tight, cohesive article and submit it is really what we're going for here. So if you would like to do that, you can do that by reaching out to us by email. We're building out a way to submit an article right within the knowledge base. Still working on a couple parts of this, but it's functional. So basically, if you want to submit an article, you click up top there, test article here. What's really cool is, so right here I just wrote, let's say, labs. I'll do something that you might actually want to do. So we don't want people to submit articles which pretty much already exist. If you have a suggestion or a revision for an existing article, that's fantastic. We'll take that and edit it where needed. But we don't want to have 15 articles on the same topic. So what's really cool here is if you're getting ready to submit an article or an idea for an article or whatever, it will suggest right here if an article already exists for that topic. So for example, if you're like, oh, they already have an article on that, you could read that and see, does that really fit the article that I'm writing? And maybe I could suggest that rather than write a new one. But let's say you can't find an article that you think is exactly what you think is needed here. You can go in and either write the article right here, so you can just type it out, free text. If it has some pictures and some links and some other things, which is great, we want this to be multimedia, even video. You can add a file here, so a Word document or a PDF or pictures or whatever else. So if it's something a little bit more complex, you can probably just drop in a file right there and then hit submit. So I'm gonna test submission. And I'll hit submit. So it should pop up to a screen where it shows you submissions. So right here, still working on some of this on the back end, but actually will show you what your contributions or your submissions have been. I'm still working on some of the back end coding here. So you can see like what you've done in terms of your community comments, your article comments, requests, I think is actually supposed to be submissions. So you can see here, I did test submission. So here's this. Should say submissions here, article submissions. But basically, you'll be able to monitor when you submit an article, like whether it's been accepted or whether we have some comments on it. So we can actually comment back. The administrative side, we can comment back on the article and say, your submission was accepted and we published it or whatever, and say thank you. So I think that's the gist of how the knowledge base works. What I think is really cool is also that this is this is integrated with a community forum. So this is definitely not quite as dopamine driven as Facebook is, which is great for some things, but in other things it gets very, very complex to find what you want. So community is basically a forum that's part of this larger knowledge base. So if you click here, there's kind of some broad community topics. I know one thing that kind of drives me crazy on like a totally open system is like there's some topics I'm super interested in, maybe like clinical cases, but then there's other things that I'm not as interested in, and I have to kind of, I guess, let Facebook tell me what I should be interested in. So what's really cool about this, although again it's not an app on your phone quite yet, we're trying to figure out if we can do that, is to have people be able to select the topics that are of interest to them. So clinical cases right here, for example, we don't have any clinical cases sadly here, but let's say that you wanted to follow this. Looks like I'm already following it. We have 7 people following this. So let's say you're really interested in clinical cases and you want to get notified every time someone posts a clinical case because you want to go check it out. You can subscribe to that or follow that, and it'll send you an email when someone posts something new in there, but you don't have to follow everything about like advocacy and policy, which some people love and some people hate. It gets annoying. It's like I'm not following advocacy and policy right now. But if I wanted to, I could click on there and say I want all new posts or new posts and comments. So if you want to see everything that's going on in the advocacy and policy, you could do new posts and comments. And so every time someone commented or posted a new article or anything or a new comment, a new post in there, it would give you an email. So I'm going to unfollow that one. But yeah, so this is kind of the gist of it. You can see here, I think there's been a couple, I did some venting. This is my favorite channel. I should follow this one. So this is my vent a few weeks ago as a test. You can see here there's some people like Kissy and me talking back and forth about this issue that really is a pain in the butt, and then Tiffany chimes in, and then Vance chimed in even more. And so really these are free-flowing conversations, and these are great. Like we think these are necessary. This is a big part of mentorship, but we don't want this to replace articles. So if we notice like there's some really good content in here, like Kissy shared some stuff and I shared some stuff that we're like, hey, maybe that should be an article. On the back end, on the administrative side of things, we can take that and create an article out of it, which is fantastic because then people don't have to kind of browse through to try to find the answer, which I think is what happens a lot on social media. So that's kind of how DPC University works. We hope you guys like it. Like I said, we're just getting started with this. The platform has some really amazing potential, and we're going to be building out some more features into this. But if you have any questions, then let me know, and have a happy holiday.